Oh, it says, do I press okay? Think so.
Yes, yes. So it just says that I'm
Got
recording
it.
now.
Oh, got it. How do I look? Are we good?
You look amazing, my beautiful friend. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. Kayce, I can't wait for you guys to hear her story. I want to tell you a little bit about how Kayce and I met, though. I met Kayce when my oldest son was competing for season
Yes.
16, yeah, of The Biggest Loser. And at that time in my life, I was 39 years old and
My age.
yeah, your age. I was.
Yes.
Yes. And so what had happened was I was the youngest out of my friend group. And for that year and a couple years prior, everybody was talking about how much they hated the 40s. And I thought, well, it's not going to be that way for me.
Hmm.
And I made a change. It was a conscious effort to change. I quit smoking. I hired Kayce as my trainer. I became
Went
a
to
nurse.
nursing. Yeah, went to
Yep.
nursing school. Yes,
Yep.
I remember.
Yes, I had just finished nursing school. And so my life completely shifted completely. And it was a great time in my life, and then COVID kind of hit. And so much has happened since then. But I'm still like kind of making my way, making my way back, right? Like there's so many times in our life, I think, we go through seasons and reasons for things. And sometimes, our vices or whatever really debilitate us or they come back to haunt us if we haven't taken care of them.
Yeah.
And so, with this community, I wanted to create this community because people trusted me, right? People looked to me and said, oh, I can trust this chick. Like she's real, she's authentic, she's telling us like it is. She's risked her life, her
I will second
livelihood.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
all of that.
totally.
So I was like, okay, Lord, well, where do you want me now? Because for me, it's all about at this point in my life, and it has been for the last few years, living in God's will and not my own. So, whatever purpose He has for me here, I want to make sure that I see it and I'm fulfilling it. And
Yeah.
so, that's why I have this awesome community. And I'm so happy that you guys are joining us here. And I get to bring in my amazing network of people. And I wanted to bring in Kayce, one, for her to tell her story, and two, for her to offer just some tips for us going into the holiday season. We all have goals and everything, but I think we can like try to find a balance. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
welcome, my friend.
Yay. Thanks for having me. This is such a treat. I needed this at this point in time in my life just because life's going to keep lifing and we're going to keep going through things. And, you know, one trauma or struggle or success doesn't make it better or worse than anyone else's. That's kind of my thing when people are like, well, you've had it worse. I mean, there's more traumatic stuff, but yeah, so I guess I can kind of just and cut me off if I go on a tangent or redirect me, Jody, because
Yeah.
I am. So so I have this whole speech here that I'm not going to read like a senior high school student. No offense to the senior high school students, but I want to highlight some stuff. So just to give you a background on me, I'm Kayce. I'm from Scottsdale / Heber, Overguard, Arizona. I claim myself as a mountain girl, but I was raised mainly in Scottsdale. I'm 38. I've been a personal certified fitness trainer since 2008. I am a wife. I'm a mom. I'm an amazing friend. I know that for sure. And I'm just out here trying to keep my happiness because that's our inner child. That is what my goal is just to keep that little girl inside happy, um, as well as my own little girl. Um, so along the way, I've been thrown some hard deck of cards, such as I went through a divorce that was kind of at the start of the turmoil for me, and I don't want to be a meh person. So I'm on a tangent real quick on this before I start this. I know when I've watched Instagram or this kind of interview where people start touching on hard stuff, I've swiped left or whatever. Like I'll watch some, but some I'm like, oh, that's heavy. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want anyone to walk away from this feeling like they have to swipe left. Like, because it is hard. You start to fear, what if this happens to me? What if, or this is happening and I don't want to have I don't know what happened. Are you still there? Can't see.
Yeah, I'm here. I just
Okay.
didn't want to stare at myself. I'd rather
Oh.
stare at you.
I was like, no, I'm on a good tangent. So yeah. So my goal here is just to hopefully give some unsolicited / solicited, like I've been advertising on my Instagram story because you're here, so it's solicited. But I just hope you don't swipe left, because it's gonna be heavy stuff, but it's also the way of finding ways to just camp out, feel it, pack up, and move on to live in the moment. So back to, what was it, 2017, I went through a divorce. I had just earned my I.F.B.B pro card as a pro figure competitor. And my ex-husband and I were cordial, and through the grace of God and just like us parting ways because things didn't work out, I had to completely change my thought process in life on what was next, because that was traumatic. And as many accomplishments as I've had, I feel like it's not even so much about that. It was more about the struggles and how I overcame them to come out on the other side to where the happiness was, whatever that may be. And I feel like that was the actual accomplishment. Not to say me competing and dieting and doing all that, like that was hard. And I look back and I'm like, I don't even know how the hell I did that. Like that was crazy, So
I'd like for you to touch base on that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think, that's just something that most people have never even gotten close to. Even they have no idea what it entails to get to that level.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, most of us have a hard time losing 20 pounds or not eating ice cream.
Yeah. So. And I can definitely do that, because when I'm gone through all this other stuff coming up, there's been lots of moments where I go back to that, where I was like, this is different, but it's not. Those moments of when I got my pro card, it's the one time in my life I can say for 17 weeks, I was hand to God 100% on point for what I had written down. And that means waking up at a certain time every day. Obviously I didn't have children, like all these things, but it's just, I've seen women with children do this stuff, or whatever, but it's not even about that. It's just about the discipline and the mindset of like getting up, you take your vitamins, you go to work, you do your first workout, you train your clients, you get your cardio in, you go home, you stretch, you whatever. So I think when I'm saying this, I want this to also be taken as a metaphor, in a sense of there were tons of days where I was weak-minded and I'm like, fuck this. Sorry, I shouldn't put that in there. Bleep that out. Or F this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm working on the potty mouth. And I just like when I would feel these feelings of doubt, I guess, or I can't do this anymore. Why am I doing this? Why did I choose this? Or so-and-so over here is doing this and I'm doing this to myself. The one thing I found was journaling, praying. I had a journal that I would sit and I had color-coded, because I'm a little OCD. I had color-coded pens and I would write out different quotes relating to whatever I was feeling. If it was doubt, if it was I feel like I'm starving, but I know I'm not, or I'm mad because of something. I would just put it in Pinterest and it would pop up, and I'd find things that appealed to me and I'd write it down and then I'd read it. And I did that and it would always bring me out of this funk. And then I also took moments where if I needed a minute to myself, it depends on our personalities. Like I found out through therapy I'm actually an introvert. I recharge alone. Um However, I love being social, love it. But I found, okay, go home, recharge, do this, do your journaling, cry, listen to a song, and then get out there, even if it's for 10 minutes at the grocery store or whatever, and say, hi, how you doing? Like community, the community.
Mhm.
So that really helped me. And going to the gym and going places, whether it's your family or a gym that is like Independence where I work, where it's like Cheers, the sitcom, everyone knows your name and everyone's like, you're doing great. Like, you need that community and you need to, have your minute, but like recharge, go out, even if it's for a second, socialize, pick up some energy, and keep moving. So that seemed to work for the most part. And then every day I saw more progress and more progress. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, like to myself. So I think that did tie into when I started to go through life changing events. So the fitness isn't even so much about aesthetics. For me, it's more about resilience.
Mhm. What
Um,
was your goal though? When you say 17 weeks, what was it that you had to do for those 17 weeks?
so for the 17 weeks, it was basically, we had a game plan. And like you and I have talked before, there's always some kind of specific regimen, but everyone is so similar, but they're so different. So there's like a trial and error. So throughout those 17 weeks, it was more of um, monitoring body fat every couple weeks. And then as you got closer, we would do that. But that was at the end of basically having a very regimented diet, specific foods, checking in with coach, like, how are you feeling? Um, I train weight training probably on average 5 to 7 times a week. So all week, but like splitting it up safely. Cardio, like, again, that's where the differences come in with my body type. It was more, I had to do more cardio where some girls get to eat more, but and lift heavier or whatever else. And that's harder for them, where some people that are like, why do I have to do more cardio? But it was all just based off, okay, it's kind of like in healthcare, like where, you might be like, we're going to put in this medication or vitamin or food or whatever because your blood pressure is here, and then we're going to reassess and we're going to see how you're feeling here, and you feel better and better. So it kind of coincides with that, if you want to put that with fitness. And it was just like upping the ante just a little bit each week. And the 17-week gauge was basically just based on my personal starting point with my body fat, my routine, everything. um and then we just took it week by week and sometimes day by day. And it's like, isn't that what we do? Like in life too? And, I went back to USA's where I got my pro card the second time. That's when I got my pro card. The first time I went and I got third place. And you had to get first or second to get your pro card.
Oh.
No one, but everyone's like, oh, politics. It's about politics and do. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not here for that in a sense. I'm just doing my thing. I'm, like, I'm just going to put in my all. I'm going to put in my all and I'm going to see what happens. And yeah, I might have some emotions. Who doesn't? But like, if I know I put in my all, then I win. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So when I got third, I had my moment. I was like, man, what? But then when the judges gave feedback and I look back on what I could have done better, I was like, I had a moment where I'm like, I'm not going to do this again. But it was literally like a moment for me. And then I was like, I'm going back. I'm going back. Like, and I busted, busted the butt for like a full year. And I went back and not only did I get first place in my class, because they go by height, I won the overall against like almost 300 women, and this is including like Puerto Rico and like it
Wow.
was nuts. I mean, it was a surreal moment because everyone was always like, "Well, yeah, if you know so and so, and if you do this," and I was like, "I just proved that wrong," and I feel like I should be in the Guinness Book because no one in Arizona, as a female, has ever won their pro card as the overall at USA's.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
really pretty big.
So, I mean,
Yes.
but then after that, I did a pro show. I realized a lot of, and this just comes with the industry. I have no judgment against it. It takes a lot of hard work, but there was a lot of bodybuilding drugs and stuff. And I'm not against it at all. Like, but it wasn't for me. I wanted to have a family. I wanted kids. I wanted freedom of to be able to eat here and there and have, you know, just moments where I could chill because it's a lot. So after I did my first pro show, I was like, I think I'm good. I'm good. Like
Mhm.
my body needed a rest. It was telling me it needed a rest. And I just went into more of like training people for life. And then shortly after that is like when everything got real challenging.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I had gone through a divorce. It didn't work out. And then I'm an only child. I went my whole life thinking my parents had everything together, so I highly recommend, as much as it's a hard conversation, have it with your family about plans for the future, God forbid when that day comes. Um, and I had found out shortly after I got a divorce that my mom had bipolar disorder, and she also, we found out later, but just to speed it up, had frontal temporal dementia. We had known at the time. And at the same time, my dad was in and out of the ICU and the hospital for, and this is all pre-COVID, thank God, um, with him getting intubated for having a VATS procedure. He had to have part of his lung removed. He had pneumonia. He had osteomyelitis. And I'm the primary caregiver because my mom was in and out of mental hospitals. And
Mm.
so, I mean, I had adult protective services involved, crisis involved, and their house from my house here was only 5 minutes away. So I'm like back and forth, phone calls all day. Meanwhile, trying to manage my business. I just got a divorce and then um, so I'm managing all that somehow, and taking where I just wanted to be married, like the status quo, whatever you want to call it, of like my age, where you just want to get married, you want to have a kid. And I'm like, and I had moments where I'm like, why is this happening to me? This is not fair. Like, and I have moments where I'd look at other people and be like, must be nice. Like, I had moments of bitterness, of just like, but I did turn to prayer, to God, to the universe, whatever. I feel like it's all tied together. Like, um, and I would turn back to when I competed, to where I need to journal. I need to feel it, but I also need to find those moments of gratitude and happiness and laughter. Laughter is huge. And what I learned through all this too is I used to tell too many people too many
Mm.
things.
Mm.
And I learned find like two, maybe three key people that you feel safe with, that can just be there for you to talk to and not say anything, or if you need advice. Like, that was just my thing. So going through all that, long story short, we thought my dad was going to pass away before my mom, but my mom ended up passing away. And shortly after that, or shortly before she passed, I had to get their house out of foreclosure, my childhood home here, sell it. I had to fight the court because they thought I was trying to steal from my family, because my mom was manic, bipolar, dementia, and she had gotten my dad arrested for domestic violence when he wasn't, he was wrongfully taken to jail during all this time. So now when my dad got out of the ICU, out of jail, everything, I got a lawyer, got legal power of attorney to make decisions, stepped in, got 50% to be able to save their house, warranty deed their house, so that we could sell whatever was left over, to support them. But I had to go to court because they were trying to say I was not involved. And I'm like, my dad lives with me. He's not allowed to see my mom. I don't know, it was this crazy thing. So once all that happened, my mom passed, I sold my childhood cabin, which was really traumatic. I know it's just a house, but that was like where the roots of my roots were grown. So I did that in hopes of me being able to have some financial freedom since I just went through a divorce. I wanted to start my own family. I was dating my now husband at the time. He was there for like he met the first time he met my mom, she was on another level. Like you would
Oh,
think she was on some good stuff or something. Like, and he was just so loving and open arms to all of it. And I have a lot of great support and friends and stuff too. And that was huge, especially being an only child and not a ton of family at that time. Um, so then after that, my dad was drinking himself into a hole. I had gotten him a vacation rental condo by our house, him and my mom, but my mom ended up passing. And we had to go over there. He wasn't answering. So I had my husband go over there and I was like, something's not right. We had to take him to the hospital, blood pressure in the dirt. He was just not eating, depressed. I mean, and I tried, he's a Vietnam vet. Um, and we had been trying to get him into the VA. He's just very like, ooh, whatever, I'm fine. That generation too. They were hard, but God bless them. And so when we get him in short-term rehab out of the hospital, then my husband and I, well, we had eloped at this time because we had both been married before, and we just knew. We were like, even going through the crazy, we were like, okay, we have a lot of happy. So we do that. And then I find out I'm pregnant. So that's January of 2020. So then we,
oh,
uh-huh,
wow.
yeah, that year,
That year.
that one. Does anyone remember it? Because if you don't, I don't know. Lucky you.
Lucky you,
Um,
for sure, for sure.
so
Wow.
yeah, so dad comes in to move in with us because he was just an anomaly and woke up from the dead of all of his ailments. So now I have dad living in there, pregnant. Um, COVID starts to happen. Gym shuts down. My 6-figure business gets closed. I drain my IRA. My husband's starting his contracting business. I couldn't go to the appointments with my husband at all. I'm like terrified. They're judging me. They're like, and I'm like, I'm fine. Just it was very, very traumatic. I didn't have my mom there because she died. Um, and then by the grace of God, though, I was like, let's just get in the hospital at the end, have our baby. He was allowed to be there for that at that point. But I, come in, they're like, you're pregnant or you're old, you can't go anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Which, I mean, we were all scared. We didn't know what was going on at the beginning. And I get it. So yeah, it was freaking terrifying and very isolating and very, um, a lot of hopelessness.
Mhm.
And then also a lot of fear because you have this new little baby and this world is nuts at the time. So, I spent majority of my first year as a mom, like home, and I had tried to upkeep my business in my backyard here with a little makeshift gym before when COVID was happening, but then it got hot, I got more pregnant, and then people were like, "Oh, I think we should all stay away," which I get, whatever. But then, so after I had Isabel, I had planned on going back to the gym, and it just wasn't the same. I tried to go back. People weren't wanting to come back. I was postpartum really bad, really bad. Um, and I was in a dark place. Not like I wanted to take my own life, but I was just hopeless. Like I just felt hopeless and I felt guilt and I felt why me and all this stuff. And I had a day where I just completely unraveled and I checked myself into a mental hospital. And I just remember telling Leo too, I'm like, I just need help. I need someone to help me. I need a nap. I'm tired. And he was helping. I don't want to twist that. Like he was doing everything, but we didn't have a lot of help besides that. And he had to work.
Mhm.
So once I checked in, and one of the main reasons is I felt, and he noticed and I did that, like I at home all the time and my hormones were all jacked and I got an IUD, but I didn't like it and I didn't want it. And I had them take it out and they fought me on taking it out. And I'm like, I'm paying out of pocket. My insurance doesn't even cover this. So, along with hormones, emotions, coping, I was drinking too much wine. And I was at a place where I knew what I was doing. And then Leo noticed and he got really upset. And I was like, he left one day with Isabel and I was like, I have to go. I gotta go. I wasn't going to give up. I was going to fight for what I knew this beautiful life that I had. So I checked
Mhm.
myself in. I got to stay for a week, and that was something else, and also a gift because the main component that I saw from all the women in there was they were all fixers. And there were men too, but we were on the women's side because it is kind of like jail. And you got to really be tough to just, I was the only one that threw myself into a mental hospital and hadn't gone to jail and had somewhere to live when I left and
Right, you were voluntary.
hadn't been there before. And
Yeah.
these women in there are like, why would you do that? And I was like, because why wouldn't I? Like, I need a minute and I know what I have. But they were also very like, they were like, I don't even know the word, commending or just like looking at me like, that is amazing. And you're so blessed you have that chance because I had that chance and I don't have it anymore.
Mhm.
And then even like they had like a I don't know if it was a minister, but it was like this lady, she came in and we would like pray and we would do classes with that. And then I got to help with the workout classes. I mean, it was crazy, like
Mhm.
experience, however, very enlightening. I sat by the only window in the back of the hallway every day in the morning and like journaled. I have this like mental hospital journal um of just the things I witnessed, what I saw, what I was learning. Saw the doctors, even asked the psychiatrist, like, am I losing my mind? Do I have bipolar like my mom? He's like, sweetie, no, you've been through a lot and like you're gonna be okay. So then when I came out of that, it was like my daughter just started walking and
Mhm.
it really it as much as where some people might feel shame and guilt for not being okay, and it's okay to not be okay, I was like, that changed my life, and it gave me the sense of confidence and to be able to share my story that I had been through the ringer, just like a lot of us have, and that it is okay to reach out for help, whether it's on that level or just to reach out to someone that you think might be able to pull you out of it for a second or for a minute, like, you know? So after all that, almost a year later, my dad committed suicide. And everyone was worried about me. So, but I had the tools. I had the therapist. I had my faith. I had my grievance counselors, which were separate from my therapist. I had my friends, my family. And I had learned at this moment, it's okay to be vulnerable because I've always been the person that's like, no, I got it. No, I'm good. No, no,
Mhm.
no, I got it. No, I don't got it. I don't got it. Like,
Right.
and
Right.
it's okay. It's okay. Like, so I think that was a huge thing for me. After my dad passed, I think for the most part, I dealt with it pretty well. Um, and as much as obviously I would love to have him here, and I was such a daddy's girl, like I'm very spiritual. I pick up the signs for myself that I feel I need. Um, and that's been such a blessing for me, just my faith and my spirituality. And then once my daughter got back into school, that's when I was like a eureka moment. I'm like, what am I doing? I tried to do interior design, loved it, but I was like, this isn't me. And I just had a moment where I was like texting the manager of my old gym where I have my business. I'm like, I'm coming back.
Mhm.
And I went back and my picture's still up big on the wall and everyone's like, Casey. And I was like crying, like, this is a dream because there were so many things in my life I lost. I knew I couldn't get back. And that was one of the biggest components of my life. And I was able to just walk in there one day and it was like I never left.
Uh-huh.
So that was that's kind of the gist of my story.
Yeah, when you talk, Casey, you reference journaling a lot. Was this something that you've always done throughout your life, or was
Yeah.
this yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And I even think back to, like, the Dear Diary with the key in the lock and, like,
Mhm.
putting What Boy You Like, and, you know, like it
Yeah.
goes all the way back. But yeah, I mean, I've just always been a talker. I talk
Uh-huh.
more than the hours in the day. And so, so I feel like the journaling for me, whether it's just a bunch of like word vomit or to share, like,
Uh-huh.
and I have shared passages from my journals with people that might be going through something similar, you know, whether it's a client I've trained and they come
Uh-huh.
in and have a hard day, or a friend, and I'm like, I'm going to text you a picture of what I wrote. Feel free to read it. No harm, no foul. And I think my biggest um, journey and reason that God has put me here is, you know, and I told Leo before, my husband, before we did this, that 20% of your brain that wants to sabotage you, that's
Mhm.
like, why are you doing this? Like, nobody's going to care, and no one's probably going to watch it. Like, and I'm just like, because that's why I'm here, is to give people wisdom, whether it's one person or a million people. Like,
Mhm.
that's my goal. And to show each other that we're not alone and that you can overcome so many things. When I was pregnant, I gained 85 pounds. So if anyone that watches this knows, like for me, that was straight body dysmorphia.
Okay,
Um,
hold on. We need to talk about that for a second.
yeah, 85.
Because this is very hopeful, I think, to a lot of women hearing this.
Yeah.
Me personally, yes, I gained 85 pounds with my first.
Mhm.
I was 130 pounds, and then it was
Yeah.
no, yeah, like 210 I got, almost 210. So,
Sounds
but
like
I've
me,
never
Jody.
lost.
I was the same.
Okay, so how did you do it? What did you do? Did it like fall
Well,
off of you
no, it
after?
didn't. And I don't want to watch
Yes, it
any of
did. I
that.
know it did.
Like, good for you. If you post on your Instagram that you look the same you did like 3 months after. And some women do, you know, but my journey wasn't the same as their journey. Like, some people might have more support for people to watch their family or friends to watch their child, or my therapist calls me a wound up chihuahua. I don't take any offense to that. I'm just very wound up. So obviously my cortisol is probably higher. I had a lot of hormonal stuff after the deaths of my parent. Like, there were so many components that go into it. And for a period of time, I was looking in the mirror like, this is just how it is now. Like, look at you, like negative, negative. And my mom used to do that when I was a kid. And
Mm.
until I had Isabel, I was like, I got to a point too where I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to have her hearing me say that stuff, because she's going to think it's okay to say it about herself. And I will be damned if I hear her say that about herself. Like, you know, it's okay to have like the feelings and stuff, but I didn't want to repeat a pattern, I guess. So I think going through all the trauma, and then as well as finding the strength when the time was right to share it with people that might utilize it, that gave me strength to start taking better care of myself. Obviously, my husband, my daughter, um, learning how to not have guilt, because financially at the time I wasn't able to support myself, and I always had been able to, and always saying sorry to my husband. He's, you know, like, why are you saying sorry? But like, I just didn't know. And a lot of therapy. But once I got my daughter back in school, I just threw myself back to where I knew was familiar, and it was still there because I had so much that was familiar I couldn't get back. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I have my family, but that is also new. And I don't find guilt in saying that. Becoming a mom, I had no identity. I lost my mom, my dad. So that identity is gone. I wasn't competing, lost my business. Now I'm a mom. Now I'm not
Mhm.
like providing my own way. And I didn't know who I was at all. I had no
Mhm.
idea. Like, but then and I give it to God and my angels up there and the universe. Like, it was just this one day where I was like, we're going back. We're going back. And I went back, no shame at all, just ready to just do it, whatever
So
that meant.
you went back even when you weren't in your top shape?
No,
Oh,
no. I
okay.
mean, I had been going to Mountainside and
Mhm.
doing like spin and stuff. And I had found out too, after I had Isabel, about a year after, that I had fractured my tailbone giving birth. So I was in a lot of pain, but I just dealt with it. I guess I have a high pain tolerance going to the chiropractor. I did pelvic floor stuff, whatever, but that wasn't going to stop me. I just got to this point where I was like, I need to go back to my gym.
Mm,
you know?
mhm,
And
mhm.
to where I found people, sorry, there's a bee, and I'm like one of those people that can't with the bees. They scare me. Might be allergic to it. Um, I wanted to go back to a place where it was familiar and not even just the gym. It's just like seeing people that I always saw that were like, "Hey, Casey," because I was at home by myself all the time. And around
Yeah.
at my other job when I did do interior design, it's like I just didn't fit in. I tried it for a year and I was like, "No, I'm not supposed to be here."
Mhm, mhm.
So, and I think sharing my story gave me more motivation too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm still not where I was like pre-kid, but I made a pact when I went back to Independence Gym. I was like, I'm done with the self-talk. And I have not made one comment. I might have days where I'm like, I feel bloated, but I look at myself now and I'm like, all right,
Mhm.
you're doing it. Like keep going. Like just share your story and keep on trucking. I always say gets to getting it. Gotta gets to getting it.
That's it. So you're just more positive self-talk.
Yeah.
If you need to, to let things out, you pray. And how do you pray? Is it just you talking to God,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just talking?
Like, I mean, I was baptized Lutheran, I'm Christian. I don't go to church every Sunday. I'm not opposed to going. I just do what I can. We say a prayer with my daughter every night, just my mom did when I was a baby. And I do extra prayers just, yeah, in my car, leaning
Yep.
on the counter in the kitchen. It might not be like the formal Bible prayer. It's just whatever
Yeah.
I feel like I need to get out. I have some books with some passages. I'll read those and see how I can incorporate it into my day. Um, and I mean, I also read like my astrology and stuff, but I incorporate it all as one to kind of tie it. But like God is, that's the main for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And my angels, the more people I've lost, the more I've felt support. So sometimes when I feel like, why isn't God like getting back to me? I'm like, Mom, Dad, hello? I need you to go poke the bear. Like, give me an answer. Get me an answer ASAP. I don't have patience. You know this, Dad. You don't
Mhm.
either. So like, and I think I'm also kind of like I try to find some humor in moments. Not everyone grieves and process stuff different. So,
Yeah.
but for me, like I do try to find some like light humor in certain things.
Mhm.
Um, just because I don't know, that's just what my parents used to do. And also because I know in the moment it's okay. And
Yeah.
for me personally, it lights it up, but some people, everyone's different.
Well,
So,
I like it. Something that you said really resonated with me too was when you said you just got out, made yourself get out of the house and go to the store, even if it's 5 minutes, 10
mhm,
minutes, just so you can get out and get some energy. And
yeah,
I can really, really relate to that
yeah,
because myself, I found through these last few years that I am way more introverted than I ever thought I was.
right. You think you're an extrovert.
100%. And if I
Uh-huh.
tell anybody that, they
They're like,
other than my
what?
really close friends, yeah, they're like,
Mhm.
"What do you mean?" And I say, "Oh yeah, like I've been in my house for days. Like when I come back from events and stuff, I would
I
realize,
know. I
why do
get
I
it.
need to be alone for so long? And luckily I have a
You're
teenager who
drained.
doesn't mind being alone too."
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get it. And I mean, I think that resonated actually recently when my husband and I were doing couples therapy. And I was like, I don't get why he's always like, I just wish I was with you and Isabel. And I'm like, why? We're like, me and her went up to the cabin and I'm like, enjoy the house. Like, I love when you guys go somewhere and I just have 2 days, like, or a
Yeah.
day, like, or an
Right.
hour. Like, but and then our therapist is like, it's where you recharge. You're extroverted only because you recharge introverted. He recharges
Uh-huh.
extroverted, so he can be
Oh.
alone. And it's just people's personalities.
Okay. Well, that
But
makes sense then. Yeah.
yeah,
So Definitely, I don't charge extroverted at
Yeah.
all. I
Yeah.
I have to be all charged up to do
Yes,
that.
exactly. I mean, I know you and I, we think a lot alike. We know how
Yeah.
to communicate. We are like, we can talk in our own language and go off on 50 tangents and complete all of them. And I feel like when I became a mom too, as much as that's my baby, that's the hugest part of energy, right? And then even when people would be like, "Hey, I want to come by and see the baby," I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna put her down for a nap, and I don't know what time, and then Leo come home, he'd be like, "Hey, I got this job," and I'm like, "That's cool," and then I'd be like, "When are you home? Can you watch her for a minute? Because I'm gonna run to the store." Like, and he was always like, "What?" But it was like I just didn't have any energy. Like I needed
Mhm.
to just be alone, to either just drive and be quiet, listen to music, cry, like whatever,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that will put you down some paths too if you don't take care of that, you know?
100% it will. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can really put you into a space where it's dark,
Yeah, or you
and
start developing bad habits, you know?
yes. I know that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yes.
I mean, but here we
So,
are
but here
out
we
here.
are.
Yeah, till the wheels fall off.
It's crazy to think like now here we are literally 10 years from where I met you.
I know.
And I'm like, okay, Kayce, I gotta get back in with you again.
I'm
We
ready.
gotta, we gotta, we gotta do that. I
Come on
miss it.
over. Yes.
And it's funny because my older kids remember me working out and doing CrossFit and,
I remember the
lifting.
video they came and filmed at the gym.
Yes,
The
yes,
crew. That was so cool. And it's your
yes.
mom and your sister.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yep.
remember that.
But then I have Benjamin here who's 15 and he's like, why
Crazy.
don't you do that anymore? And I'm like, oh, I
I
need to
know.
do
See,
that.
and the kids put you in check, dude.
Yes.
See, that was another motivating moment is when I went back to the gym and I saw my picture and I was like, because Isabel loves working out and she's like, I want to go to your gym. And she'll go in there and work out and stuff. And she's like, Mama. And she looks at me on the wall and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that's right.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
because you're like more than lifelike on that wall. It's like Mount Rushmore on
Every
that wall.
It's awesome. It's such a blessing. But
It
I
is.
know, except when I'm awkwardly like doing back extensions because the machine's in front and I'm like, hey, we've come a long way from each other.
Right, we have. Well, I think, Kayce, your story is just one of, like resilience and triumph and turmoil and now, you're in a space now where you have that peace. And it's not like it's perfect by no means. I mean, we all still struggle, but for you to still have the light inside of you and willing to shine and
Yeah.
use your story and letting people
Mhm.
know the power of God and
Yeah.
relationship with him and the power that we hold within ourselves to
Right.
accomplish what we maybe are set out to accomplish, right?
Right.
I know for sure that God does not want me, overweight and
I
low
think,
energy,
yeah.
right?
And
It's not
if
about
any,
being overweight or having this perfect
yes,
ideal. It's about being low energy, inflamed, in pain, down. Like he doesn't
fearful.
want that for any of us, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think for me, what resonates when you say all that too is like fear. I feel like I have come from such a young age of living in fear. Um, Fear of, like, initially when I had an anaphylactic shock when I was 14 from allergies and had to go to the hospital. And so I was told to carry these things with you in case you like croak and you got to go to the hospital. And then fear of my marriage not working out, fear of my parents dying, fear of losing my income. And then the most recent that I'll top it off with is I just found out, like I told you this morning, I have glaucoma at 38. And I talked to the doctor today and she's like, I want you to calm your mind, like, but if you do notice X, Y, and Z, I want you to get to the ER. But like to where I'm like sitting here in fear, like, am I gonna go blind at any minute? There's a procedure. I've caught it early. I give my faith in God. The doctor wouldn't have let me left the office if he thought it was that urgent, but it's the fear. I mean, whether
Mhm.
you're 38 or 80, like, and you've gone your whole life seeing and just so to where I have to really pull back. And what is the advice I would give someone I love? And pray and just take action to be better, to take better care of yourself, but not put blame on yourself that you caused it or it's your fault, you know?
Right.
Because you won't be happy if you do that.
Yeah. Well, definitely keep you in prayer, because that's
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to hear. You know, it's like, man, any second or whatever, you
Oh,
know,
no, yeah.
it's like, you know, but I think, yeah, like we talked about earlier, you know, everything happens for a reason,
I
and
believe it.
staying positive and not stressed and not leaning to that. You know, I mean, we're not commanded to fear or worry or be anxious. So let us go forth in the day.
Yeah. Yes. And
Not feeling that.
well, because when you do that, you rob yourself of those moments that
Mhm.
are all in the moment right now, regardless of what's happened or what is going to happen. If you're sitting there, like, you're robbed of that moment, we're not going to get it back. So if you're with your family or your friends or whatever, like,
Yeah.
don't rob yourself of that moment, you know? Easier said than done, but it's possible. I can
Yeah.
vouch. I know you
Yes.
can too. And it's just like, we just, yeah, you just
Keep on.
keep on
Now,
keeping on.
what advice would you give to women over this time of the year? You know, we have Thanksgiving coming up, and Christmas, and like, is there a balance in, you know, setting your goals, keeping your goals? How far do you fall off track? Like, what tips would you give to people this time of the year?
For the
For
holidays.
eating health, yeah, for holidays, you know, trying to stick to their goal of dropping
Well,
some weight.
I think number one with the weight would be to get in a routine of movement, whether if you can do it by yourself, cool. Like we've said, like I need accountability. So like finding a couple key people to go to the gym with, go on a walk with, go on a hike with, but make it consistent. Don't do it just here and there. And then maybe get in the habit of after you go to that workout, whatever that activity is, like get in a protein shake instead of like a huge brunch. Not to say you can't have that, but making small little changes. So many people think like, oh, I have to change everything. And that's not my belief. My belief is small changes every week or each day, even if it's just, like, or if it's last week you went to the gym or went on a hike or whatever the activity is once. And then this week you go 2 times. And this week you also added in, you know, not eating, like portioning your meals a little. And if you don't know how to do that, I know someone who does. But but I mean, but I'm just saying, and regardless, like it's just making the small changes every week to where we all know ignorance isn't bliss for most of us at
Yeah.
this point to an extent,
Mhm.
or, if you are drinking too much wine during the week and that's obviously going to hinder your progress, just like sugar. So then you would cut it out for these days, but maybe on the weekend enjoy it. Or
Mhm.
but even if it's just taking one day that you normally do it, it's breaking the pattern. So you come home from work, you notice that's when you're bored. That's when you want to like binge eat. And then you just lay there and you're bogged down and you wake up and you're not hungry. So what if you journal? Just like journal, what's the pattern here? What am I doing consistently every day that's not benefiting my health? And then you take that and you're like, instead of doing this, I'm going to commit to going on a walk, and then I'm going to walk over to Salad and Go or whatever, get a salad. And that's going to be what I'm going to commit for just for the next week. And let's see how it goes. Like just
Mhm.
little things like that. I think that really helped me get back on a pace
Mhm.
regardless of my history, because yeah, I have like the background and the history of it, but when I became a mom and all this stuff happened, I had to completely be reborn, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. I mean, where you would gather your strength or your energy, or yeah, like
Yeah.
renewal.
Yeah.
That wasn't there anymore. And that's a
Mhm.
lot for a young woman as a new mom
Yeah.
to deal with.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, does anybody I want to make sure you do take on clients though too, right? If
Yeah. I'm
virtually?
back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm back. Come on in. I know I was thinking about like doing a boot camp or something now that it's nice out. like at
Uh-huh.
Chaparral. So we can talk about that later because that was
Oh my gosh, we totally should.
we
And we
should.
can film it for people.
Yes,
Yeah, right,
I'm
right.
in. We got to do it.
Yes, that's a good idea. And we
Yes,
have a few months, although it's a little too hot. It was like 80 degrees today. I'm like, what the heck?
I
It's
know. I'll take it though, compared to what it was, because I was about to move up to the woods
right,
to
right,
handle
true.
this.
All right, let's open it up. If anybody wants to pop on here, yeah, you're more than welcome to. Or, we can, yeah, I'll just give it a minute and see. I
Yeah,
know a lot of people. Oh, let's see, iPhone 3, or is that you?
that's
That's
me,
you.
I think.
That's you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times people just like to listen, and that's
that's
fine
fine.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long since I'm here? Hi, Casey. It's Sandra. I'll just say Casey has been a godsend to me because
I
we have, how long has it been? I don't know, 10 years?
2013, 2012,
Yeah,
2014. Yeah.
And I went through many ups and downs, and but I did your program before 2018, and I took 11 weeks and just did everything like she said, followed all the directions, and then we did the photo shoot.
Yes.
2018, and then
You've done a couple photo shoots with me.
I just turned 60, and I did
Woo!
a photo shoot with her. What was it, in July or something?
Yeah.
And
Stop it. Like
Yeah.
it's one, oh my gosh, I love that, Sandra.
yeah,
Yes.
it's been over COVID. I had a lot of challenges too, and I had gained like 30 pounds. I felt terrible about myself. I was in menopause. I was just giving up. And I thought like that, is this it? Is this what it's going to be like? And
Yeah.
as soon as I saw the message on Instagram, like she was going back to the gym, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. I'm like,
I know we went to brunch and had our like last supper together.
yeah, I'm like everything that happened. Oh, so grateful.
I love you so much. You're a sister for life.
Mhm.
I'm
Yes.
so proud of you.
Well, Sandra, do you have any tips or anything on how did you stay motivated? Like, how did you keep up that motivation for 4 months to like do everything that Casey told you to do?
I just was really sick of the routine, the pattern that I had over and over, like try to lose weight, gain it back, lose weight again, gain it back. And it was like this cycle that I was sick of. And I wanted to see what I was capable of if I actually put in effort.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah, and I actually had the accountability. I would get my measurements done every week. I really put in a lot of effort that I hadn't done before because I wanted to challenge myself and just see. I thought, well, it's only 4 months. I'm just going to see if I can do it. And if it works the way that she says, I just trusted her.
Well, and don't you think, Sandra, because going through all that, I mean, not everyone's as open book as some of us, but like I could pick up on energy. Not that I have that gift, but I think I kind of do. Like where I'd be like, are you good today? And I could tell something was off. And I'm like, we don't have to talk about it. But if you want to work out and vent, like, not that I'm a licensed therapist, but like that also I think helps kind of make you overcome where you're like, I just can't come in today, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like the community. So
yeah, that really helped, and having that accountability, knowing that there was something at the end that I had already said I was going to do, and everybody knew I said I was going to do this photo. I'm like,
yes, all the girls on you. I mean, you're competitive, so that helps.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah,
it does. If you're competitive, you have no reason to not succeed. Let me tell you that. If you are a competitive person, even if you're not, you can. But like,
yeah, you can find it.
Yeah, yes.
Settle for accepting all the weight gain and all the crap that comes with it.
It's acceptance for sure. You have to accept it. You got to share your story. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love you. You're so amazing. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else?
No harm, no foul. Don't feel like you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
talk.
no worries. Okay, all right. Well, that's awesome. That's really great. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Kayce.
Oh,
I
I love
think
you, Jody.
yes, I love
Thank
you too,
you.
girl. I think I just like to I'm gonna close this out in prayer real quick because I think it's pretty powerful when we could do that, okay?
Mhm.
Father God, you see what your child Kayce is going through, Father, and hearing this news with her eyesight. We know that you can heal all of us and that there's always something that's coming in to distract us or take us off our course. Father, I ask that you give Kayce just a peace and just so she's just doesn't worry, Father, and that she goes to the appointments that she's supposed to and that it is taken care of. And I also ask that everyone that listens to this or watches this is just touched in some special way where they can use their voice and be a light and also to empower themselves to walk in their greatest purpose. And I ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You're gonna make me cry. All
Well,
this makeup off. love
I
you.
love
Thank you
you.
so much.
I will be in touch, hon.
Okay, I'll talk
All
to you
right.
soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.